Well, not everything is doom and gloom in gun land and Second Amendment land. I just want to point out another story, and a lot of people sometimes think it's hopeless. They're gonna pass all these laws, and they're gonna take away all our rights, and there goes the Bill of Rights, there goes the Constitution. But just keep fighting on, man, and actually don't be too much of a fighter. Just point out to people that why do we have individual gun rights here in the United States? Because basically we have individual civil rights, and gun is actually the way you can protect your own person against somebody who's bad, or even a group of elite people that take over the government and take it away from the people itself. Because it's never really the government per se that turns bad. It's like a group of evil elite people seem to have major influence in the government and use it against the average people. So that's why you have guns. But anyway, your efforts have been paying off. So education and things like that, and explaining to the Feinstein voters why people have guns and stuff, it goes on to better things. So basically, this was from The Hill. I'll post a link. I guess it's stuff about what goes on in Capitol Hill, the big hill. Anyway, it goes on to say that they had a good vote here. Good vote, in my opinion, because it says the Senate voted by a majority to stop the United States from joining the United Nations Arms Trade Treaty, which would limit our Second Amendment rights and our civil rights and our rights to breathe and all that other stuff. So Senator James Inhofe of Republican of Oklahoma introduced an amendment that would prevent the United States from entering into the UN Arms Trade Treaty in order to uphold the Second Amendment, and it passed. Now, Obama said he would not vote for anything that would violate the Second Amendment, but we know the deal with Uncle Tom Obama. He's basically, a guy on the inside that probably wouldn't care about violating the Second Amendment at all. He'd probably let everybody do everything what they want if he was allowed to reign free. But he's Uncle Tom Obama, and he works for the elite. And if you voted for him, I hope you figured that out by now. But anyway, you should. But if you can't, oh well. Anyway, so Senator Patrick Leahy, Democrat of Vermont, so a Democrat and a Republican, offered a alternative amendment that clarified that under current U.S. law, this is really important too. This is really important because basically, the thought is, or the idea, or the postulate, or the concept is that the treaties, when the U.S. makes a treaty, it becomes the law of the land, right? So then it circumvents the Constitution. That's like an interpretation. But Senator Patrick Leahy, I guess he's an Irish guy from Democrat from Vermont, right? He says he passed he wants an alternative amendment that clarifies that treaties do not overshadow or overtrump the Constitution, that the United States should not agree to any arms treaty that violates the Second Amendment. Now, his amendment, that's a good one, passed by a voice vote, so they had such a majority in that, no problem, it passed easy. So in other words, the Senate doesn't like the idea of treaties, overshadowing their power too, and the Constitution on top of that. So that was a good thing. And you got to remember that a lot of people that making their strong efforts for the Second Amendment, that's what made this happen. It makes the politicians brave when they got a lot of constituents behind them, So, then the other thing is, I want to point this one out. This guy, Senator Ted Cruz, and this is getting a political update here. I'll do some other updates later, but it's cool because Senator Ted Cruz, he's a Republican from Texas. He was one of the guys that was really, Feinstein got mad at him because he was pointing out some simple things to her that, how she basically was violating people's rights with her proposals and stuff, and she got all bent out of shape. But he's a really good guy, right? He was really calm, and they were attacking him personally and stuff. But look at the type of amendment he puts out. I would say, why not, right? He puts out an amendment, proposes an amendment to reduce aid to Egypt, and in turn use that money to pay for an East Coast of the United States, that is, where like New York, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and all that, and Boston is at, and everything. An East Coast missile defense system in Charlotte, Savannah. And it gets totally clobbered. So basically, the Senate says keep paying the money to Egypt and skip the United States defense system. I don't know. Maybe we don't need it. But anyway, that's the kind of stuff that goes on. And, I got to point out this. The stuff with the Second Amendment basically is like a basic inherent human right, right? And, we don't need to have like in a Second Amendment for the Russian people. We need to have one for the Chinese people. And, that gets rid of the gulags and the Laogai, because then the Chinese people and the Russian people can defend themselves. And we need a Second Amendment for Japan, good old Japan. Because, I don't know, Japanese people are very civil with each other. I don't understand why they can't have guns. Because, they got a good government too, but that's because they're good people. But, why not let them have guns? Why can't the Japanese have guns and an individual thing? So I think, it's a smart thing, a smart policy, because even though some individuals might do stupid things and do bad things and evil things, it's actually when a few elite individuals get together and they get into the government like a parasite, and they use the government itself to run roughshod over the population. That's why you need the population having guns on an individual basis. That's the real thing for it. And in Japan, I mean, things have been going smooth even with gun control and stuff, but Japanese character can easily handle owning guns because they're very good people with each other and very considerate of each other. So I'd like to see, number one, besides the United States have a Second Amendment where the right to bear arms, I also love to see it in Japan too. So we can have a new samurai class, protecting Japan from evil forces.